What is Christianity? Well, it's based on Jesus Christ. Um, One might question whether that is the description of Jesus Christ that's in the Bible, or the other Gospels of Jesus Christ that were left out of the Bible. What is Christianity? What did Jesus stand for? And let's look at just the Jesus's words and actions in the Bible. We can see that Jesus was a man with unconditional and full 100% love. Perfect love. Perfectly loving. Loving everyone without exception and fully. Loving everyone as much as anyone could love another. Jesus spoke about forgiveness. Forgiving your brother 7 times 7, 7 times 7 or 7 times 70 times. Not stoning, whosoever is without sin cast the first stone. So Jesus is a great figure to show love and forgiveness. It shows that Jesus going to the cross, accepting the cross to show, the way I view it, to show the great love for even the sinner, saying, my favorite line in the Bible, forgive them for they know not what they do. So there's greatness that comes with this character. And I say character, I'm not to say whether or not he was real, but just to simply say this character, this description. I view us all as characters, myself and everyone. We all have our own personality, our own likeness. Now, but the thing is, the world is not black and white. And part of the world not being in black and white, I don't believe there is eternity in hell for some and eternity in heaven for others. I don't believe in that. But another thing is looking at what Jesus represents and what Jesus says. There is also the other side of the coin, where these Gospels of Jesus in the New Testament also introduce eternal suffering in an afterlife of fire. So, while you have the greatest of greatness embodied in the story of Jesus, you also have an idea, a discussion of the worst thing, of the worst of the worst. To quote, this is from, I'm not sure the exact verse, but it's somewhere within Matthew chapter 25, 41 through 46. Then they themselves also will answer, Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty, or as a stranger or naked, or sick or in prison, and did not take care of you? Then he will answer them, truly I say to you, to the extent that you did not do it for one of the least of these, you did not do it for me either. These will go away into eternal punishment, but the righteous into eternal life. So here you can see the concept of forever suffering or forever paradise. I don't agree with that at all. So as you can see, there's aspects of Jesus' teaching that I believe are very true and are very special messages that have the utmost meaning. But I also see messages that are terrible and destructive. So there isn't a black and white. We don't live in a black and white world. So, I criticized the Bible a lot of like the Old Testament. And I've lately said that I am not a Christian. And I see that as true, that I am not a Christian. I do not longer consider myself one. The desire to tell people that has a lot to do with the ego. My ego. This is because of anger and frustration at Christians that say to people, oh, you're going to hell. I've been told, I was ganged up on by a couple people one time that told me, oh, you'll find out, when you die or when the time comes or something like that. And they said that in response to me saying that I don't believe there's eternity in paradise or eternity in suffering. I don't believe that is that black and white, that it's either eternity in suffering or eternity in paradise. I don't believe either one of those things exist. And they said, oh, you'll find out. I interpreted that as my own interpretation, but I kind of think they kind of meant like, oh, you'll find out when you're in hell. And not to say that all Christians are like this, but some Christians are some Christians do this, where they tell people, hey, you're going to go to hell. You're going to suffer for eternity. I even, met someone one time where they weren't sure if the one they loved was in hell, suffering excruciating pain for all eternity, or if they made a last minute, what do they call it? A last minute conversion and is instead in heaven. To me, this is, and I'm saying sick as in like mentally sick and not healthy. And it's like, how can you be on earth and then how could you be worshiping God and being on earth and love God and at the same time believe that God, maybe God sent the person I love to hell and they're suffering and they're screaming in excruciating pain, and while I'm happy in hell, they're going to be down there screaming in pain and suffering. The disconnect is just, It's like, this is a person you supposedly love how can you be in heaven praising God, happy in heaven praising God in paradise, when your friend, somebody that you love, is suffering for eternity? And how could that be okay with you? Oh, it's because God's infinite wisdom. And then people say, okay, I don't have to understand it because I'm not God. So then they just escape understanding something that's illogical by saying, okay, I'm not as wise as God. Well, if you're not that cruel, why would God be that cruel? So this is the whole thing about, is I'm coming to realize that Christianity isn't black or white either. The Bible's not black or white. The world's not black or white. It's not like one or the other. There's this, where you have okay, there's corruption in the governments. Governments have corruption. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The black. It's not all black and white. Nobody's all good or all evil. I've done bad things. Okay. So, this whole notion of, okay, you go to hell forever or you go to paradise forever. I don't believe either one exists. I don't believe it's eternal. I don't believe it's eternal hell or ever. I mean, if anything, if you want to be fair, if I were to, hey, discuss this God that supposedly sends people to hell for eternity, I'd be like, hey, okay, so you say, okay, this not God, but like if I were to talk to, if God were to tell me, hey, yeah, I send people for hell for eternity, I'd be like, wait a minute, eternity? Why can't they just suffer the same amount that they caused other people to suffer, and then that's it? I mean, at the very least, it's like, okay, make them suffer the same amount of suffering that they caused others, and then make them cease to exist. Okay, that's a little bit more fair than, okay, eternity, you never stop suffering. So this whole thing of the eternal torture is something that I've been against, for a long time, and I used to consider myself a Christian, but even then, I was very much opposed to this whole idea of, yeah, you suffer and it doesn't end. And you can see that, even Jesus, says it, and that's obviously where the Christians get this whole, you're going to suffer for eternity, you're going to hell. I mean, you see it, this idea seems to come from Jesus. And that's not to say Jesus is bad, but, there's good and bad. That's why I'm saying that it's not all black and white. And so some of Jesus' teachings, yes, absolutely, I agree with totally. Some of them, no, that's not right. It's wrong. It's completely wrong. To threaten people with suffering eternal torture, I think is completely wrong. And so, yeah, I don't fully agree with Jesus, and I don't fully disagree with Jesus. But despite that, I still now don't consider myself a Christian, and I also, some of my beliefs, nobody really knows what's true and what's not true, so, I question, you know. And some of the things you don't have to pick a side. You don't have to say, okay, well, I know this is true. I know this is not true. I mean, you know, you don't have to go one way or another, but, you know, be skeptical and say, you know, it's possible that it's true, and it's possible it's not true. And some things you can be like that, and it's okay. It's okay not to be decided, because we don't have all the answers. We don't know what things in the Bible really happened and what things are just make-believe stories. And that's my point about Christianity. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to call this, Jesus, I love you, but I'm not a Christian. Thank you. And if you like this video, please leave a like and feel free to share it. My name is Jacob Persico, and have a nice day and take care.